Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Rev, here to drop some dope info on you as usual. Let's get into it. So here goes the deal. Most of y'all, if you've been following me, you know maybe about 5-6 weeks ago, I went and I got the Apollo Solo USB interface. I'm completely in love with this thing. It's completely changed my mixing, my sound in my studio, and of course, how I record. What you all don't know is that several months before that, I took advantage of a promotion that Slate is actually rerunning right now. So if you are looking for a new mic, this would be a great time to invest, because what you can get right now is the Slate ML-1 modeling mic for $500. It's a great deal, and then we're running a promotion right now. I took advantage of it over the summer, and I have been using that mic. But question comes up: if you have the ML-1 modeling mic and you have the Apollo Solo USB, can you take advantage of the Unison preamps? Right? So let's talk about this for a moment. Think about the vocal chain. I take my microphone. Before the Apollo, I have my microphone. I would run one of the emulations on that microphone, all right? And that would be the first thing in my vocal chain, right? From mic to interface, first thing is the emulation, and then anything I did would come, anything else would come after that. In this case, I'm going from microphone to the Unison preamp, where I'm running a preamp emulation already. In this case being, you guys know I'm using the Avalon 737 emulation. I don't want to then put my, I don't want to then put my microphone emulation behind that. That's weird, right? Because now the preamp is coming before the mic in a sense, right? When your microphone should be first. So what can you do to work your way around this? What kind of difference does it make? Doesn't mean that these units aren't really compatible. So I want to talk to you about that just for a moment. What I have done, all right, and what I've been doing in my recordings since I got the Apollo is I have taken the emulations off the microphone. Now, I've made mention of this to a couple people, and they said, oh my goodness, what's the purpose of having this mic if you're not going to use the emulations? And I just want to tell you, the Slate ML-1, for those of you who don't know, without any colorization, without the emulation, is a great sounding mic. It's really just your natural voice. It really is. And so now I'm taking the color more from the preamp that I'm utilizing, right? I'm getting that color from the Avalon 737 and going into the system. That's how I'm recording. Now, once I have my recording in here, and I'm just going to take you to a session I'm kind of toying around with for a second. Let's cut to it. All right, once I have my recording in here, all right, now I'm doing, my auto-tune, my EQs, de-essers, that kind of stuff, right? And then I might have other plugins to boost volume or something like that. But honestly, I'm not even touching those Slate emulations in this chain. If you do have a Slate emulation that you really like, that you really want to utilize, then what you need to do is not use the Unison preamp feature, right? So if I can just take you over to, what we have here in the console, right? So we have the Unison preamp, right? Where before it actually goes into the recording, it's hitting this preamp emulation first, right? Which does, in some cases, depending on your microphone, depending on your presets, depending on how you set up, you might be completely comfortable with recording in what you have based on this Unison preamp. I will tell you that that is what I have been doing with the ML-1. However, you're not locked into this. This does give you that zero, that near zero latency, because I'm not monitoring from my actual DAW anymore. My monitoring is coming directly from my Apollo Solo as it pertains to the microphone. If you'd like to put your preamp on the back end in a more traditional sense and utilize the emulation, all you have to do is turn this off, right? And then you go ahead and you're monitoring from your DAW, and you can include the Slate plugin, right? Your Slate emulations, the virtual mix rack, and whatever microphone it is that you want to use, you put that right there in your vocal chain. And then you record as normal. And then if I want to use the Avalon as something within my chain, then all I've got to do is select that plugin and put it on the back end. Just know that I'm not recording it in, right? Now it's a normal plugin. And you might be limited on how many of these plugins that you're actually going to be able to have, right? Depending on your unit. I have the Solo. I know I can only run about, 8 or 10 plugins at the same time. Or 8 or 10 instances of the Avalon at the same time before it starts telling me that, I can't use all my plugins, right? So for me, it's better for me to record in, because the difference for me, the sound that I'm getting from that microphone and the Avalon emulation is satisfactory for me. There may be cases when I'm not the one that's recording, right? And I'm recording somebody else, and I really feel like, hey, this emulation works really well for this person. And in those situations, absolutely, the answer is I'm going to not use the Unison preamp and know that I can still bring in the Avalon preamp or whatever other UAD plugins that I want to after the fact, right? In fact, most people probably aren't going to want to use the Unison preamp feature, maybe because they want to record the raw vocal and still be able to edit what came in its entirety. Me, I like what I hear so much that I feel no need to do that. I commit to it, right? I'm going to commit to, this is the sound, I'm digging that, that's what I want to print to my DAW. You might not want to do that, and it depends on your personal preference. So all in all, can you use, right? Can you still go ahead and utilize the modeling feature of the ML-1 and still with the Apollo Solo? Absolutely. Just use it as you would any other interface. We're going to skip over the zero latency. We're going to monitor from our mix, monitor from our DAW, right? Just make sure your buffer size is low, right? Utilize whatever, chain that you want to within the modeling, right? If I wanted to pick one of these mics, right? I select the microphone, whichever one that I want for this specific occasion, record it, right? Know that, hey, this isn't printed either, right? What I've done here, this emulation isn't being printed. It's always editable because it's in my inserts, right? So you can absolutely have your cake and eat it too here. It's the best of both worlds. Whichever one of these is going to work for you, you most definitely can execute on. I'll just throw this one other thing out there for you, is that this is your creation. You're an artist, whether you're the engineer, a producer, whatever you're doing, you're behind these boards, you're a creator, this is artistry. So if you determine that, hey, I want to use the Unison preamp, and then I want to go non-traditional and then emulate my mic after the fact, who knows what might happen? It might be something that you're like, oh my gosh, this sound is amazing. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it should work, but who knows? Go ahead and try it, man. Have a ball. You got the equipment, you got the software, man, go ahead and do it. Just figure it out. See what sounds good to you. You might have just come up on something. So, don't limit yourself creatively to what our traditional ways of thinking are. In the virtual world, you can do anything. So, man, just go ahead and have a ball. Forget the rules, do you, get bigger, get better, crescendo, call that reverend.